Good afternoon, San Diego. Thanks so much for tuning in. This is Real Talk San Diego, and as always, we're bringing you the business of life in America's finest city. The show's presented by our loyal partners at 5-Star Escrow and First American Title, and I'm your host, Claire McKee, and we are going to be discussing the financial steps that single moms should be taking in 2018. And while that's our main focus, I don't want you to think that the information's only for single moms. So if you're a single dude or you're married, we want to talk to you too, so stay with us. I have Laurie Itkin here. She's known as the Options Lady, and she's a certified divorce financial analyst. Welcome back, Laurie.
Happy to be here.
And I have Dana Green. She is an estate planning attorney. Hi, Dana.
Thank you for having me.
Absolutely. And last but not least, we have Jessica, better known as Jecca St. John, and she's a realtor with Realty National.
Hi.
Hi. We ready to have some fun, ladies? We got a lot of information to cover, so we're going to jump right in. No fluffy questions at the beginning. So, Laurie, what's the first thing that people should be doing in regards to their financial success this year?
Well, you know what's funny? I was at the gym, I was at yoga this morning, and all these people are doing these cleanses for the new year. Like now, I think something at Whole Foods is a 30-day cleanse. Do you know about that?
Really?
With the whole, you have to buy the food at Whole Foods, no doubt.
Of course.
Whole paycheck. But I'm thinking, you know what? I don't know about you ladies, but I hate to be hungry. I'm not doing any of these cleanses. But I thought today we could do a financial cleanse, right, for the new year.
Does that mean we don't spend any money? Like on a cleanse you don't eat? We just don't spend money?
Well, I do support that, but now you can have some fun. You know, I'm a financial advisor. I'm trying to help you manage your finances. But let's talk about what we can do financially, and let's get excited about this. And I know we wanted to devote today's show to single moms, but my first tip is for single moms, but for anybody, really. And I really want to focus on people who own their own businesses. We've got so many self-employed people. They're doing their own gigs now. They may even have a job, but they are having a gig on the side. And I have a lot of clients who are real estate agents. And sure enough, I get the phone call in April, Laurie, I just met with my CPA. I just got the form of my CPA, and I've got all these taxes I owe because I haven't.
Help, right?
Yeah, I haven't made estimated tax payments through the year, and I owe like $20,000 in taxes. So the CPA says, well, you should open a SEP IRA. Well, what's that? A SEP IRA is a very easy way for a self-employed person to, before the April 15th deadline, open up an individual retirement account. And depending on the structure of their business, they can either shield 20% or even 25% of their income into a retirement account. That means there's 20 or 25% less income to be taxed by the federal and state government. So it's a great thing to do. So I really want to encourage today, if you are self-employed, don't wait. Don't call me at April 15th or 14th or 13th. Every weekend before you know how April 15th is usually on a Monday, every weekend I'm ending up working, and I'm not even a CPA, I'm a financial advisor. So it's a great way to save, to pay less taxes, and build your retirement nest egg. Okay, so that's something. Now you can't, if you, for 2017, you can't max out on your 401k at work because it's already over.
Okay.
But for a retirement plan for 2017, you have until April 15th of 2018.
So it's not too late.
It's not too late, and you might even have longer if you have an extension, but I don't like getting those calls either in September and October. Okay, so number one tip.
Number one, open an IRA.
Right. Especially for my friends who are real estate agents, and I know we have a lot of those watching the show.
Yeah, and let me ask you, is there a limit to how much you can contribute to your IRA?
Yes, so there is a limit, but for self-employed, it's going to be either somewhere between 20 and 25% of your net income, of your profit.
Okay.
And we don't have time to go in the weeds. I'd have to look at everyone's situation.
But it's not a hard number. It's different for everyone.
No, it's not a hard number. Unless you do a traditional IRA or a Roth IRA, then you are limited to $5,500 a year if you're under 50 and $6,500 a year if you're over 50. Did I say 50 or 60?
You said 50.
50, good.
Yeah.
All right.
Got it.
That early
So
amnesia.
there's still time if you're self-employed.
Yes.
If you're not self-employed, you're W-2, it's too late, right? That's
Correct.
just the reality.
Right.
Okay,
That's right.
Got it. So you also get asked by moms a lot whether they should be saving for their retirement or should I be saving to pay for my kids to go to college. That's a tough thing to decide between. So what do you advise?
Yeah, this is really huge. I mean, this hits everybody, but it's really hard on single moms. Okay. Again, I have several clients who are single moms, and they made the decision that I think in their case, I don't want to say it's the wrong one, right? We all love our kids, but they're coming into me in their 50s having very little saved for retirement, and they're asking me, Laurie, am I going to have to work the rest of my life? And I go, yeah, you are, because you have like 100,000 saved for retirement, and you're 55, you're 58. And I ask, what happened? Well, I didn't want my child to have debt. I wanted them to go to college and not have debt, and that's laudable. And we all know how expensive. I mean, you know, private universities. We all know that even the state system, even community college, isn't cheap. So it's just like that saying, you know, when you're on a flight and they say there's a crash, you want to secure your air mask first before you help your children. You are no good to your children if they have no debt out of school, but you can't even retire and you got to work till you're 80, or that you're going to have to depend on them. So this is a really difficult subject, but I have seen, I'm telling single moms out there today, I have seen what happens when you say, I don't want my kids to have debt. You can't sacrifice your own financial security for the kids. So think
part
about
of that might be just the guilt too, just
Yes.
the single parent feeling a little guilty because they can't provide as much as maybe other parents, and they want their kid to have the same thing. So
Absolutely, it's guilt. And also, we don't want to have kids retiring with $300,000 worth of debt to start off. But my opinion, you know, I had debt. A lot of us have had debt, and I was 31 when I paid off my undergraduate loans. I have clients who are in their 40s with debt for their master's degrees, and they're still paying it off. But again, if you are working, if you're younger and you're taking on that debt, and you have a lifespan to work, you'll be able to pay it off.
And you have like low interest on it, so it's much better.
Usually, yeah.
Usually.
And right, when you're 60 or 65 or 70, who's going to loan Laurie Itkin when she's 70 money so she can finance it to put herself in an old age home? Nobody, nada, zippo. And if you think that Social Security is going to take care of you, do you know how much Social Security is a month? You're lucky. Maybe you get $2,000 a month, you know?
right.
So anyway, on that bummer note, but it's just something to think about. If
We
you've
keep
got
it real.
kids going to college, think about who is going to take the financial burden, and maybe you share it.
And to your point, I think it's interesting you mentioned it's great if you graduate with no debt, but those kids, myself included, are not getting the jobs that will afford them to pay off that debt. So I totally understand, but how are they going to take care of you as the parent if they can barely take care of themselves?
It's a very tough situation. It's very tough. And in fact, I think on the show we need to bring on, there are a lot of ladies I know in the business of helping families determine how to finance college and picking where their children might go.
My daughter does that.
Your daughter is a college counselor.
Yeah, she does that. She's in Colorado, but we have to
Okay.
fly her in.
We'll
for
bring
this-
her
but we'll
in.
bring her in and we'll do another show.
Excellent. So she grapples with these decisions all the time. Yeah.
It's an interesting place to be in, certainly. So I do want to say that we are live, so if you have questions for any of us, please drop a comment below. We'd love to hear from you. If you just want to tell us we're doing a great job, we'll take that too. So let us know, and we'll give you a shout out.
And if you think my opinion is totally off base, I want to hear it.
Yeah.
Let's get some debate going. Come on,
Totally.
text it in.
Totally.
Facebook Live.
I love it. So you work a lot, as you mentioned, with divorced women or moms, and especially with your online course. So why
Yes.
don't you tell us what we can find on the online course?
Right. So I have an online course, and I really recommend it. Of course, I'm going to recommend it because I designed the course, but put that aside. Just assume it's unbiased. You know, if you are separated or you've been divorced for 3 years or less, I think it's a very valuable course to take as a single mom, because a lot of women put their heads in the sand. And in this course, you know, I teach you really how to prepare for what happens when child support goes away, because your kids will age out of it, or maybe you're receiving spousal support, and what happens when that taper off or goes away. You know, you've been creating a budget to live off of. Maybe you work and have some income, maybe you have this other income, but when that goes away, what are you going to do? So the course does 3 things. And Dana will talk more about step 1, but the first step is after a divorce. You want to make sure that you secure the assets that you're entitled to in your settlement agreement or divorce decree. You want to make sure you protect your kids through the process. There are things like beneficiary changes and plans to protect your children, which Dana will talk about. And then the second is really how to budget. You know, living on your own now, you may have not had to think about budgeting, but you are financially responsible for every decision you make, and you might not have been that way since you were 25 years old. Maybe you got married pretty young. So we talk about budgeting and how to pay yourself as well to start building a retirement nest egg, because you're not going to work till you're 80. And then finally, what everyone asks me, Laurie, I'm told I have to invest. I've got to invest my money. I got half of the 401k in the divorce settlement, or I sold my house and now I have cash. I'm supposed to invest it. What the heck do I do with it? I don't even know what that means. And so I take you through that. And I price this all to be less than what you would pay for a 1-hour meeting with an attorney.
Wow.
So if you've spent money on attorneys for your divorce, I really hope you will invest in yourself by paying less than another hour with that attorney and taking the course. And if you mention Real Talk, because I love my family at Real Talk San Diego, you get a $50 off voucher to the course.
So is the course something that you can revisit and go back and rewatch the videos as well?
Absolutely, and I know a lot of women have said to me that the third lesson about investing they've had to watch 2 or 3 times as well. But what I really like it is that the women that have gone through the course can make comments and everything, and those comments are embedded. I can facilitate. And when we've talked about money saving tips, a lot of those students have messaged in some great tips and just really good stuff and apps, and the more women that take the course, the bigger the community is of learners.
Certainly.
So anyway, so those are the 3 tips from my end. It's 2018, you're a single mom. Let's hope you take advantage of one or more of these tips.
And if you need help with the investing and you don't know where to begin, she's the options lady.
I'm the options lady.
You've got the options. So you'll help them figure out what's best.
Very easy. The way to reach me is theoptionslady.com. The Options Lady. So that's it. You'll find me. I do a lot of stuff, and I love helping women in particular.
Yeah, that's great. And we've got the boss babes on the show today. I love it. We love the all women panels for sure. And once again, that's Laurie Itkin. She is the Options Lady. You can find her at theoptionslady.com.
And Anna's asking for the link. Again, just go to my website, theoptionslady.com, and you will see a little sparkly thing that talks about the course.
And hi, Mark Kaufman. He says we're doing a great job. Isn't that so nice of him?
Thank you, Mark.
Thanks for watching. Tuann Waldy said, hi, Jecca. It's the Waldys. Hey, Claire Bear. Hi, Tuann. And Mandy Rodriguez said, Dana Green. Love her.
Love Dana.
Thank you.
And
Thanks,
everybody's
Mandy.
getting some love. Thanks
And
for the
Anna.
feedback.
Hi, Anna.
We have 15 live viewers. Keep it coming, guys. We love it. Thank you so much. So, as I mentioned, if you like what you see, make sure you click follow on our live feed so you can be notified every time we go live. And we are live. So, drop us those comments, ask us questions. We're happy to answer them on air for you. So, we're going to transition here to Dana Green. She's an estate planning attorney. Dana, your niche is actually single mom. So, first off, maybe tell us why you're so passionate about working with that demographic.
Well, I'm a single mom. I raise my kids pretty much on my own. And so I know that single moms don't usually take care of themselves, kind of like what Laurie said about in an airplane. You know, you got to put the mask on the child before you can put it on yourself so that you can help them. Or put on yourself, I think, before the child.
Yeah.
So that you
Otherwise,
can
the
help them.
child, you'll be passed out, and the child
you
will
gotta
be.
take care of yourself first, right? And so basically, I know that moms, you know, when they get divorced, they don't think about what they need to do in terms of estate planning, because in general, people think estate planning is for older people and super wealthy people.
Right.
And when you get divorced, you kind of feel like you're like the exact opposite of wealthy. You've lost half of everything, and you don't realize that in California, having an estate plan and a revocable living trust in particular is super important if you have any real estate and if you have children. So that's why I'm passionate about helping people that don't know they need it.
Yeah, absolutely. And the reality is that property is so expensive in California that if you have a home, you need a trust, right?
Right, yeah, like, I mean, one of the reasons to do a revocable trust is to avoid probate. And in California, we have the highest probate fees in the country, and $150,000 is all you can have before you go to probate. So if you have real estate, you pretty much are there.
Right, and what it really means, I mean, because everyone says to me, estate planning attorney, do I need one? It sounds so intimidating. I'm not that wealthy. And, you know, the whole probate issue is very interesting because I guess, again, you're passed away. You may not be aware of it. But why would you want to leave your children with having to pay fees? You want to have your assets go to your kids or whoever the other beneficiaries are, your husband or what have you. And to have the government to take part of your assets to pay for these probate fees is just wild.
Well, it's like the attorney and the executor that get the fees, but you don't need to have that phase if you do a revocable living trust.
Right.
And what also people don't realize is that they may think that they may own a home, But if they only own a piece of it because their equity interest is so low, they think they don't have the assets that really mean they need to go and take care of this. But if probate's based on the full market value of the property,
right.
so basically, even if you own like a $400,000 home, but you had a $300,000 mortgage, your fees are going to be based off of the $400,000, and
Sure.
close to $22,000 is going to come right off the top, and that's money that can be totally saved by just having a revocable living trust. And people
Right.
need to be aware of that. So I'm
Right.
passionate about educating people.
Yeah, I mean, probate's expensive and it's really time consuming.
Yes.
You even mentioned that some people may not have the funds to pay for a funeral for their deceased loved
Yes,
one.
it ties everything up. Once you're going through probate, nothing's can happen until you get that resolved, and
And
it
it
can
could
take
be-
6 months to a year
Right.
to get it. Yeah,
so don't find yourself in that position.
right, it's just so simple, and you need to talk to an estate planning attorney, and I'm here for anybody who's interested. And another thing is, in terms of single parents especially too, but also couples, people aren't aware of what the HIPAA laws have done to society, really, in terms of privacy.
You freaked me out with that one a little bit.
Sorry. I'll take care of you after.
No, please,
But,
share the story.
But basically, because of the HIPAA laws and the protection that it provides to privacy, it means that once you turn 18, your parents can no longer help you the way they could as parents up until then, and you could still be in high school, you could be off at college, and even if you filled out documents at the college that give the parent the right, those documents are only valid during like something at the college, like the health center. But if the health center sends you to a specialist or to a hospital, you no longer have that protection. So I have a peace of mind package that started out as a young adult peace of mind package when my son was 20, because he was in college and a roommate had an emergency appendectomy. And when they took him to the hospital, the kids weren't family, so they couldn't be told anything that was going on. They didn't know what was wrong with him at the time, and the parents were 9 hours away and couldn't be told anything. And he was just scared that
And
could
that's
ever
because
be him.
he was over 18.
Because he was 20 years old and an adult.
Yeah.
And I mean, the 20-year-old isn't really an adult yet. They're like, under the eyes of the law, they are, but you know, they want that comfort of the parents. They've never had to make decisions, and anyways, it was scary for the parents, scary for the
Yeah.
other children, and so I created the young adult peace of mind package, and then it became something that really applies to all single people.
Yeah.
Anybody over the age of 18 needs this, and if they get divorced, California is one of 10 states that like kind of basically means that any contract you had as a married couple, you have to redo because it's no longer valid. So you do need to redo your documents after divorce.
Interesting.
Even if you want your ex to be in charge of something, you should redo the documents.
Okay. So any major life change is a good time to check in on your estate plan. And
Yes.
I'm just thinking, as a 26-year-old, I'm single, and if I would get in a terrible car accident on my way home, who's going to be told about that? Who's going to, like,
Right, and if you were unconscious,
I'm not
you
getting
know,
on the phone.
I've had clients where they weren't even allowed to visit their child in a hospital because they didn't have the right paperwork.
So don't find yourself in that position as well, and that's why we need you, Dana.
Thank you.
And how easy or difficult it is for people, because I don't want people to feel intimidated. I want them to be able to reach out to you and say, so how to do this kind of thing, how long does it take? What's involved?
You mean a whole estate plan or just the
Just the
peace
what
of
you
mind
talked
package?
about, the peace of
The
mind.
peace of mind package, I mean, I could turn it around in 24 hours. I just need
Wow.
to meet with you, get a few questions answered, and I can turn out the documents.
That's a great question, Laurie. I'm glad you brought that up, because generally speaking, with an estate plan, people think, I need to have all these documents. Is this going to take 2 weeks?
Right.
Tell me what that looks like. Like, what is a traditional
well,
estate plan
a
time?
full estate plan, if you come to me and you're just basic, you have a home, a couple kids, maybe you have a business, and you just need to protect everything and avoid probate, I put together a package that consists of a revocable living trust, pour-over will, which that isn't a scary term. It just means that it's a will that works for something that didn't get titled properly to the name of the trust, and that asset would then flow into the trust after probate.
Okay.
If it's over the $150,000 threshold and all of that. And then also I put in that package, you need a certification of trust and an attorney's certification of trust, because those are the documents that are used to fund the trust. And funding
Okay.
the trust means changing title to the assets that need title changed. And then I also include the healthcare directive, power of attorney, HIPAA authorization, funding letters. If you have real estate, you need a trust transfer deed, sometimes 2 of them, depending on how title's held. If it's in a joint tenancy, sometimes we need to put it in a community property before it can go to the trust. So you have 2 transfers, and you need a preliminary change of ownership document. So I put all of that together, and it's I mean, I can have it all done within a week or two if you needed it quickly, or a day or two. It
Sure.
just depends on how fast you want to provide me with the answers.
So what is the time commitment for a client who sits down with
great
you? Can you
question.
get everything you need from them in an hour, say?
Well, I sit down with them and explain things probably in an hour, and then I send them home with a questionnaire.
Gotcha.
I don't have them come to the first meeting with documents because I feel like that sort of puts people at a distance to start with. They're so afraid of what they have to put
Overwhelmed
together.
from the beginning.
Right. So
Totally.
I like have them come in just to like learn what they need to know, and I can provide a questionnaire that they can complete at their leisure, and then once I get that back, I can turn it out for them.
Gotcha. Tell me what's the difference between an irrevocable trust and a revocable? Because I know some you can make changes to, so when does what apply?
Okay, well, a revocable trust is what I'm talking about, which is what most people need in order to avoid probate.
Okay.
And it's revocable, which means that you can make changes at any time. And one thing I wanted to point out too is a lot of people I find hesitate on doing any estate planning because they don't know who to name as guardian of their children. They bicker between each other if their spouses, like which family is going to be more competent to take care of the kids, and then they worry if they name their parents that the parents will age out, and then who will they, it won't work.
Yeah, it's a big decision to make.
Right, so people avoid doing it at all, which
Yeah.
is even worse.
Right.
So I try to tell people just pick who it is today that you think is the best, because you can change that tomorrow. As soon as you see signs of any reason that your parent is incapable or whatever that situation is, you can make that change. So that's a revocable trust.
Not
So,
one and done. We can breathe easy.
yeah, everything's like revocable.
Yeah.
You treat all your assets are just named differently, but they act the same way. You can have nothing left, even though you have a trust for them. You could spend it all yourself, but it's all revocable.
Sure.
And an irrevocable trust is something that you do have to think about before you do, because it is irrevocable. You cannot change it. Typically, a lot of people do something and today it's not even as relevant with the tax laws having changed and so much money being able to pass tax-free between people.
With the estate
tax
tax
and
now.
gift taxes. Like now you have a threshold of 11.2 million per person. That
We
can
should
go
all be so
tax-free.
lucky.
So I mean, I'm talking about helping people that are nowhere near that. So, but if you did have a state tax problem, some people open up a irrevocable life insurance trust, for instance, where their life insurance policy will pay the taxes. So you set something up like that, but you have to know that it's irrevocable.
Right.
Well, so what I like about Dana, she's going to go as deep as you need. But when we met her, and I met you at the Small Business Referral Group, a great networking group. And Dana really impressed me because she said, I'm the estate planner for folks who don't even think they need one. And that really took me, that moved me. And I just think Dana is so wonderful to offer these services where if you just need a little, she's not going to push you for more than you need. But if you need to go deep with her, she obviously has the command, the knowledge, and experience.
Thanks.
Certainly, and that's clear. So one last thing I want to talk about is parents who have children with special needs. This is something that a lot of people don't consider, and it's a very important point to hit home. So share with us.
If you have a beneficiary, a child or a loved one that you plan on leaving an inheritance to, but they have a special need, which is a disability of some sort that enables them to get some sort of government benefits, we have to have a special needs trust set up, because if they inherit money, they could be at risk of losing the government benefits that they're entitled to. And you don't want that to happen.
Right.
They could actually have both if you set it up right.
And
So it's
I know
just-
of a family that happened to, and I guess the
sad.
government benefits were not received, was voided because they had too much wealth. I don't know the details, but I didn't know
That's
there
exactly
was a
what
solution
happened.
for that.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. If you set it up, you set up the trust so that then the inheritance is held in the trust, and then it doesn't count against them. So it doesn't hurt them, and they can still get their government benefits, and then the trustee can pay for other things that the benefits don't cover.
You're obviously so knowledgeable. So if
Thank
somebody
you.
wants to reach out to you, they need help, they need your advice, what's the best way to reach you?
Best way to reach me would be to pretty much text me, I guess.
Yeah.
And that number would be 760-815-7707.
Great, and that's Dana Green. She's an estate planning attorney. You can also go to her website, danagreenlaw.com, and find out more information. And let's see, who's talking to us over here? Robin Rubin says, love Dana. Jamie said the information Dana Green is providing is so important.
Thank you, guys.
Eric Schlosser said, Jecca.
Hi, Eric.
I love it. And Debbie Day also said, great information, Dana Green. Thanks so much for chiming in, everyone. We love it. Jecca, you're up, lady. You ready?
Yeah.
Let's talk some real estate. So you've actually used real estate as a vehicle for your own wealth. I'm sure this is going to really tickle Laurie.
Yeah.
She likes to hear that. You actually bought your first house at the age of 22. So take me back to your mindset as a 22-year-old to think like, I should buy a house.
You know, I didn't grow up with real estate in the family. No one was in the family that kind of guided me. You know, I didn't watch my mom do real estate or anything like that. So, you know, the first thing I think that came to mind was, you know, I was 20 years old and I was a manager at an art gallery. And this accountant would come in once a week and do all the paperwork. And he told me he was leaving. He was leaving out of state. He was going to go be with his daughter and help raise his new grandbaby, and he was buying a house. And he was super excited about buying the house because it was like $40,000. And it's like, you know, it was like he could
Where was
pretty
this
much
again?
This is a long time ago.
You're not that old.
It's what, 15 years ago, probably. 17 years
Couldn't
ago.
have been in San Diego, was it?
No, it was not in San Diego.
All right, then
Yeah. So he was going to buy his house, and he was super excited. And he said, you know, I've been renting my place for 20 or 25 years, and they just raised the rent on me. So I guess his landlords have kept him in there. He's never had to raise the rent. He was paid really low rent, and so he was kind of like, okay, well now the rent's, you know, raised, and maybe I'll go do something else.
Yeah.
And I thought, you know, 20, 25 years of paying rent, you could own that place. Like, why would you? Now, he was like 6 years old. So I was like, that doesn't make sense to me. Why would I want to do that to myself, you know? And then, yeah, and then it's just, the other thing that came to mind was one of my sister's clients, she owned like 60 properties down in the beach areas. And so at that time I was renting down in Pacific Beach. So I knew what the rents were. And she told me she owned them. She owned them free and clear. And I was like, calculating that up. Oh my gosh, like that's your retirement. So I got one side and then the other side. And it made sense to me. So when I was 22, I thought, you know what, I'm not going to pay someone else's mortgage. I'm not going to, you know, I want to be able to buy my own place and paint it and do whatever I want and pay my mortgage down and then gain my own equity. So, yeah.
Yeah, and do you still have that property, or have you sold it since then?
No, I did sell it. So it was a tiny, tiny little house, and 2-bedroom, 1 bath, and yeah, so I basically, it was back right as the market was going up in 2003. So it was right when the market started to really
of course,
start
we
to
bought
creep
at
up.
the end of 2004.
Yeah. And so, you know, in 2004 is when I sold it. So I bought it in 2002, sold it when I was in 2004, and it had, like, I think I made like almost $200,000 on that house.
In
it was
2 years.
In 2 years. And my dad, when I was buying it, because it was I think I paid $235,000, and my dad was like, "What are you like? I bought my house for $80,000, like blah blah blah, and it's way bigger than yours, and you're buying a shoebox." And I'm going, "Dad, this is the way it is now. You know, it's expensive. You know, otherwise I have to go to Temecula and buy a house."
Yep.
And what's funny is that I did have a deposit down on a house in Temecula that was being built, and they took way longer to build it, and so it took a full year. And so they called me and said, "Your house is just about finished. You can come pick out all your finishes and this and that." And so they said, "You can also cancel and get your deposit back because we know we took a long time." Oh no, I know how much it went up from 2003 to 2004. I'm not that stupid.
Yeah.
So I actually made a big chunk of money just from that house. And after that, I was like, I think I like this real estate stuff.
I'm on to something here.
Yeah, I'm like, I think I can make some money doing this. So yeah, it's been embedded, you know, in my mind since I bought my first house.
Is that when you started thinking, like, maybe I could be a realtor?
Yeah, so I was already telling all my friends, like, oh, there's this house down here, and there's this house, and there's this house. And I was kind of like telling them all about the properties and the houses that I know about. And I was like, why don't I just do this? Like, why don't I just find them houses? And so
Instead of doing it just as a hobby and as a
Right,
exactly
right.
I find a lot of people fall into their occupations that way too.
Yeah, like my investing was my hobby for years. I said, wait a minute, people always ask me for advice. Why don't I do it professionally?
make some
Same
money
way,
doing this.
yeah.
I love
and
that.
enjoy, and then it's not work because you love what you're doing.
Yeah.
It's like every day you don't.
So true.
yeah, I was one of those people that kind of got bored of my job. And I was like, what do I want to do, you know? And this just, it came naturally. So
Totally. So tell me, what's the experience like when we work with you, Jekka? What are they getting?
it's pretty crazy.
It's a crazy experience.
Just the real estate that for some reason I get these crazy transactions, and just like on the topic of probate and trusts, you know, I have one property that actually the mother, so the father had already passed away, so it's just the mother on title. She thought, I want to leave all my children part of the house when I die, because she knew she was her health was starting to go. So she didn't know any better. She went ahead and added all 3 children onto title with her. And what happens when you do that is that anything that could be chasing IRS, child support, anything that's following that person gets attached to title.
That's right.
And so just because you add people onto title does not mean you're going to avoid probate. That doesn't mean just because they have some ownership on title does not mean, oh, now the house is safe from avoiding probate.
Which is why they need Dana.
Right. And so they had to do probate. So they had to go through probate on the house and pay all those fees. And then once probate, you know, it was still divided into a third for each one of them. And then once I went to go sell it, you know, when I met with them, I pulled the title, and there were just liens. Like the 2 brothers had massive amounts of liens. I think there were 10 liens on there.
For what?
Wow.
From
Child
IRS
support,
debt?
IRS,
Oh my
credit
gosh.
cards.
You name it, apparently.
Yeah.
Wow.
So she was shocked. She had nothing on her,
Yeah, of course,
you know,
she's clean.
but the 2 brothers
And
did.
she gets saddled with that
Right.
mess.
Yep.
Oh, yeah.
So luckily in
don't
that
like this.
case, she got her third. She got all of her money, but the 2 other brothers had to pay off all their liens just to clear title.
So they
And
came out with nothing in the
so
end,
they came out with
essentially.
nothing, and then you know the child support still chased them after
course.
what
Oh.
was owed because it was short. And
So you kind of found your specialty
Yeah,
in these
so-
crazy situations, if
yeah.
you will.
And a lot of agents don't want to deal with that
Right.
stuff. They run for the hills, you know. They want, you know, just some clean,
Yeah,
just-
easy.
yeah. But you know,
Yeah.
nothing's easy. And if you really want to be known as an expert in your industry, you have to take on some of the hard stuff.
Some of these I'm like, why? But I feel once I get to know the families and once I start helping them and once, you know, I'm in it already with them, it's like, I just want to get this closed for you guys. You guys are dealing with a lot, and, you know, whether I get paid or not or whatever's left over, you know, whatever it is, I just want to get it done for them. And, you know, there's one right now, I have, the family did have it in a trust, and then they wanted to refinance their house. So then they took it out of the trust to refi, but I don't know if they forgot or
put it
something
back
happened,
into
they never put it back
That happens.
You see that,
in.
yes.
So the family has to, they're petitioning the court to have it put back in
Oh, boy.
the trust, so they don't have to go through a full probate. But I mean, there's a lot of things that people just don't realize that the little things that they do or don't do
Yes.
makes a huge
Well,
difference.
one thing too that people sometimes do is they go through the whole process of getting their trust, but they don't fund it, and that's really one of the biggest things that happen is, so I always take care of putting their property into the trust for them. So I know that the biggest asset usually is the property, and then they can help, you know, I give them letters and things that they need to fund like any assets that don't have beneficiaries already on it. But that's something that people don't realize. They think the work's done with the attorney, but it really isn't. They have to
Right.
make sure that everything in the future, and you know, that's why you want to review things.
Right.
So I get that a lot. So as a financial advisor, I work at Coastwise Capital Group, but all the clients' accounts, their money's at Schwab. So I routinely have people saying, I've got to rename my brokerage account under the trust name. So I'm getting a lot of that paperwork all the time. So somebody's doing it, maybe, but sometimes I see, you know, non-trust
don't.
titles, and I wonder, you know.
Right.
But it is happening, probably not enough.
It goes back to you don't know what you don't know. So, pick up the phone and be as educated on all
Right.
of this as you possibly
Right.
can, and have trusted professionals like yourselves to help you through it.
Right.
Certainly. So this is just funny how this all comes together, but Jekka, you're actually a single mom as well. And so share with me what your experience was like and maybe any advice you have for single moms out there.
Gosh, my story was crazy. It was really difficult. But, through all of what I went through, it made me the person who I am today. So I'm thankful of it. When I went full-time into real estate, I was like, okay, I'm taking care of my 3 children. I was 100% on my own, no child support or anything like that. So I was like, this is do or die. I either am going to be full-time and successful at what I do, or I'm going to have to get another part-time job, So I took it by the horns, and I stayed positive. I surrounded myself with good people. That's really important, is to surround yourself with people who care about you and who want to build you up. And another thing, for me at least, is if you go through a divorce or a bad split and you have kids, I have so many friends, and I tell them the same thing, don't just go out and date. Don't just go out and find someone and start putting your time and energy into someone. Put your time and energy into your work and into your children. Get your life straightened up. Once you become independent and you know who you are, it takes years to find out who you are.
That's right.
Figure out who you are, and once you know you're that person, and when you find out that you know who you are, it's kind of like, I'm good. I could be single for the rest of my life. I've got it. I don't need anybody.
And that's when everything else falls into place.
That's when everything falls into place. So I'm dating now, but it took 5 years for me to get back and really just find myself and become the person I was supposed to become, and become independent, fully independent, where I don't need anything. And my kids, I promised my kids when their father and I split, I'm going to give you the same life that you would have with a father. That's what my goal is, to work, so that they're not affected by the divorce, and mom has no money, and and so I teach them stuff like that, to where they're educated a little bit about how to spend money, and that I just never really said I'm broke or anything like
your
that.
Your children were your why.
Yeah, they were my why, and yeah, so.
And so, it's so important. I work with a lot of couples who are getting divorced. In fact, so many women come to me for a confidential session on, should I leave? Should I leave this marriage? What's my financial life going to look like? And too many of the women either don't work, or they work a very part-time job, or a job that doesn't generate income.
Right.
And it's so important. I just, a lot of people say, well, if I work, I'll get penalized because I'll get less child support and less spousal support. That is absolutely the wrong way to look at it.
Right.
You've got to try to become independent first. And especially if you want to keep the marital home and you don't generate enough income, you think about it. If you were making $30,000 a year, if you were 28 years old before you got married and all this stuff, would you be living in a $1.3 million home? No, you wouldn't, because you couldn't afford it. So you need a new mindset. And it's just incredible. We all have stories where, Dana's a single mom working. The women who are able to work. I know it's hard being a mother and being a single mom, but it gives you so many more options. It really does.
Right.
I can't emphasize it enough.
Well, and not to mention what it does for yourself to know, like, I made it through that. It was a shitty time, and I came out on top better than ever, quite frankly.
No censor?
That's
not a censor? Facebook Live?
But that's so empowering, and I love that, and I
Yeah.
think that that's really important. So, Jekka, if somebody wants to reach you, they want to buy a house, maybe it's time to sell, how do they get a hold of you?
You can give me a call, text, email. My phone number is 619-743-0224. I'm with Realty National in Pacific Beach, and I do real estate all over San Diego. So.
Ooh, Jecca, I almost forgot. When I went to your website, buysellinvestsd.com, by the way, I saw that you received a 2017 recognition of excellence. You're not going to sneak by with that. What's that about?
I guess it's like I'm top, like 3 or 4%
You mean
of
you
San
are
Diego.
top three?
I am.
Hello.
But yeah, it's all the top agents got the award, and it's 25 property deals or more, I believe.
In a year?
Yeah.
Wow.
In a year.
You're going.
Yeah, and mine are hard. Like I said, I'm the ones that are. My
is a
office
doer.
knows me. They're like, "What does Jecca
What are you
have on her
wasting time
plate?"
on here? You should be out.
Just a few more minutes, and we have some feedback from Gail. She said, love seeing this panel of smart women. Too many women are afraid of money issues. And Felisa said, Jecca is a miracle worker. She gets the toughest deals and always makes them work. And Hector said, good stuff, ladies. Great info. Thanks for the feedback, everyone. Love all the comments. You guys are popular. You ladies, I should say. Not guys. Awesome. So, Laurie, I want to come back to you. The Options Lady, theoptionslady.com. What should people take away from today?
I think Gail said it herself, one of the commenters. Love seeing this panel of smart women. Too many women are afraid of money issues. If you're afraid of money issues and you know you shouldn't be afraid of them, give me a call. Give me a call. You know, if I can't work with everybody, but I love being able to refer people to other people. All right, this is why we're all here. We're a network. We're a community. So give me a shout. Theoptionslady.com. Send me a little message and tell me what's up.
Yeah, and the online course might be really great for you as well, so look into that. Dana Green, estate planning attorney at danagreenlaw.com. What's your golden nugget? What's your takeaway for today?
Well, an estate plan is more important than a credit card, so don't leave home without one.
Yeah.
Amen. And Jecca St. John, realtor with Realty National, buysellinvestsd.com. What would you like people to remember?
All women and men. There's a lot of single men out there that have children and that have to work. Just keep your head up and keep going forward. If you fall down, get back up. I mean, it's not easy, but there's a lot of people in these shoes, and you know, you just have to get through it, and it'll happen. It'll come together. It
The
will.
hard stuff, it's always worth it in the end, right?
Right. And surround yourself with good people that bring you up, you know, and get rid of all the negativity in your life, you know.
Totally. Well, thank you so much for being here. This was amazing. Lots of great information we shared today. Thank you to all of our listeners, all the feedback you've given us, and we still have 12 live viewers. So thank you for watching. This has been Real Talk San Diego, coming to you live from Smarter San Diego Studios. We're bringing you the business of life in America's finest city. I'm Claire McKee. Go love everyone, and we'll catch you next time. Have a great day.